Hi, everybody.
Hi.
So, a lot of people have been asking us, how did we get here? How did we decide to do what we're doing, traveling Europe in an RV?
Yeah, from the U.S. Um, we're going to back up a little bit, kind of tell you our story and how we made this decision.
Well, we both actually were born and raised and grew up performing in a circus family. The funny thing is, we never met in any circuses. Why we were performing, why we were growing up, we worked different circuses, so we never met each other until we were adults.
Yep. Um, I was a bareback rider, equestrian, and high wire walker. I worked on many circuses all over the United States, Central, North America, South America. My wife comes from a daredevil high wire family as well, and her father was a renowned elephant trainer, one of the best ever.
Thanks, baby.
You're welcome, but it's true. But anyway, that's kind of our way back story, growing up in a circus. So we kind of always grew up living in an RV, a trailer.
Traveling, used to living and traveling
Yeah, we
in
would
an
spend,
RV.
yeah, we'd spend 8, 9 months, 10 months out of
Hmm.
the year traveling across the U.S. and North and South America in an RV. So that wasn't that foreign to us.
No. Even though, it's been a lot of years since we had done it back in the time when we were growing up in the circus.
Yeah,
I actually left the circus when I was after college and moved to Los Angeles and became a stunt woman and worked in the stunt business and the television and film industry for over 25 years before I decided to retire and move back to Florida, where my family was based out of, my mom and my grandparents. And
well, my wife's a little bit modest. She didn't just have a stunt career. She was one of the top stunt women in Hollywood. Uh, Over 200 plus movies, Fast and Furious, Planet of the Apes, Hangover, Hangover 1, 2, all kinds of movies, TV shows. She was,
you're going to make me blush.
well, that's okay. You can blush. I'll pat you on the back since you don't do it enough. She was Pamela Anderson's stunt double in VIP for many years. So when she retired, she already had a very, very successful and long career. I retired from the circus in '93. In 1994, I opened up a martial arts school. I've always been intrigued with martial arts, always studied ever since I was little, got my black belt, and ended up opening a school in Florida where I was based out of. And that one school became 2 schools, became 3 schools, became 4 schools, and had a successful chain of martial arts schools.
Very successful chain of martial arts schools
Uh,
in out of Bradenton, Florida.
yep. So, anyway, that's kind of our background. Then 2020 came, COVID and the whole thing, and sold my schools. My wife, Darlene, had already retired, and she was full-time partner with me in my schools teaching circus arts, aerial arts and acrobatics and contortion and handstands and all kinds of things like that. She had a very huge following. And after 2020, we sold our schools and decided to retire. We kept a few students. We had a small studio on our property, in our backyard in Florida. And we taught some private lessons and a few small group classes. But there was something missing in us. We wanted to do something more. And we would sit around and we would talk about how we didn't want to grow old just sitting on a comfy couch.
But we also used to travel quite a bit, and we would take one or two big travel
Every year.
trips out of the year. Start of the summer or sometime in the winter usually, and we'd go to Europe, and we'd go. Last year we went to Thailand, and
Yeah, we came to
so
Europe several
we came
times.
to Europe several times. But last
And
year we visited Thailand, which was absolutely amazing.
yeah, and so that's kind of where this part of our life exploded and kind of came into fruition. My mother is from Spain. My wife's family is from Czech Republic. My dad's from Denmark.
We sort of
So,
fell in love with Spain. We
well,
love
yeah,
Spain.
we went to Spain to meet my cousins, which I'd never met, all first cousins. And we traveled around Spain to different cities, Madrid, Valencia, Sevilla, Huelva, to see our cousins. and we fell in love with Spain. And we decided, let's spend half the year in Spain and half the year in the U.S. But we couldn't decide where. Every place we went, we fell in love with that new city. It was just so beautiful, and everything was just different enough in each city that it was like, oh, I want to live here, and then we'd go to the next city. Oh no, I want to live
we
there.
really like it here. We couldn't decide what city, and then we sort of thought about maybe renting Airbnbs and visiting different cities throughout Spain. And we have 5 doggies, as you may know from following and watching some of our videos.
If you've been following us, if not, please consider following us and subscribing. Would really help us out. It's absolutely free, and it would really help out our channel. We're a small channel. We're not doing this to make money. We're doing this to document our life so that when we can't do this any longer and we're older, we can sit in our comfy chair and look back at our travels and our adventures. But we're inviting you to come with us. So please consider subscribing.
But yeah, I think that whole idea went down the drain because of 5 dogs. It's, I think, probably pretty impossible and maybe
Very
a
difficult.
bit pricey to try and rent apartments in different cities around Spain, around Europe. And we wanted to actually see more than Spain. We decided we wanted to kind of see more of Europe. So that's where the RV, kind of buying an RV and traveling around Europe, kind of came from.
But before that, we had to cross some hurdles. So by being U.S. citizens and not EU citizens, we could only stay 90 days at a time in Europe, in the EU. Which, taking our dogs, we have 5. We'll talk a little bit about that process a little bit later on in this video, but taking our 5 dogs every 90 days back and forth is too stressful on them, very expensive, logistically just very hard to do with 5.
Yeah,
it's not just one little dog.
The 90-day window also created an issue with the dogs because most airlines, or all airlines, won't let you fly your dogs. Especially, we have a couple big ones that have to go in hold, and they can't go in hold if it's colder or it's colder than 45 degrees, and if it's hotter than 85 degrees. So that, with the 3-month window there, made it a little bit difficult to try and figure out how we could even fly back and forth because of the weather issues and temperatures and all that with the doggies. So that kind of threw that idea also out the window for us.
And so now, jump forward, we started watching YouTube. And we'd sit around and we watch these different travel channels. I'm not going to name them because I don't want to leave somebody out and then they're like, well, they named them, they didn't name us. But we watched several that we really, really like. And we decided, you know what, we could do that. We grew up living in RVs from being in the circus and our whole life. I'm 7th generation. My wife's family is 8th generation. So it wasn't just something that we did for a few months. We did it. We were born and raised traveling in RVs, a gypsy life in the circus. So we decided we can totally do what they're doing. So to cross that bridge,
Cross the 90-day hurdle.
one of us had to get our citizenship. So my wife is still in the process. She's almost done getting her Czech citizenship.
Yeah, I worked on that actually with the help of my handsome cousin VW. Helped me sort of hey VW figure out how to apply. He had applied and successfully got his citizenship, so kind of following his footsteps of everything that he did. Maybe I'll do another video down the road about how to get your Czech citizenship. It's actually not that difficult, especially if you have a parent or grandparent born in the Czech Republic, and we'll go into that another time. And then
So my mom is from Spain. All my mom's family, my grandparents, my great-grandparents are all Spanish. So I had a direct route through my mom to get my Spanish citizenship. So I applied, did all the paperwork, and after about a year and a half, more or less, I'll do a video on that, on exactly what I did and how I was able to speed up the process to only a year and a half instead of 2 or 2.5 years. But we'll do another video on that one later. But I was able to get my Spanish citizenship. So I have dual citizenship. I have my Spanish passport, and I have my U.S. passport. So now we're not bound by the 90-day rule anymore. My wife is getting her Czech citizenship, and in the meantime, she has right to free travel through the EU.
Yes, right to roam, I believe.
Yes, I think it's called right to roam,
Because
as
of-
my spouse, as a spouse of an EU citizen. So she can be here indefinitely as long as she travels with me. We'll also get into more detail about that in another video. But I was able to get my Spanish citizenship. Now that opened up that whole window of not having to stay only 90 days. So then we got serious. In fact, we got so serious that I got my citizenship in March. March the 13th was the day.
So.
Yes, it was the day that I got my Spanish passport, the 13th of March. And on the 5th of May, we were in Spain in our European RV. So,
That we bought in Spain.
yeah. So, do you want to go into that a little bit?
Buying an RV in Europe.
Yeah, so, like I said, I had to fly into Europe, to Spain anyway, to finish up my process for my Spanish citizenship. And while there, so we'd already talked about traveling Europe in an RV and how cool that would be. And we've been watching YouTube videos and
Yeah, we were a little concerned too with like dimension size, height size, width size of RVs. We were watching a lot of YouTube videos. I posted some questions about, what's better. Of course, everybody said smaller because the roads are much smaller here. We've had a few issues with our GPS almost trying to kill us, sending us down small roads and through little teeny tiny city streets. But I think we've sort of navigated that problem now.
we've
But
navigated the navigation.
we've navigated our navigational system now to not get us into trouble like it's done a few times for us.
Yeah, I was in Spain and finishing my process. I was only there for 2 weeks. And during that time, one of the things on our agenda was look for an RV. So, looked at a couple of RVs. Didn't like them. One was too old, the other one was too big.
Too
And then
long.
too long for us. Then we found something. We wanted to try to stay 6 meters or less.
Yes.
But we wanted something a little bit bigger than a van because we have
Yes.
the 5 doggies, even though we like vans. And then we saw this motorhome. We'll have some clips coming up. We'll show you a little bit about this RV. But
Well, actually, if you've seen some of our videos, you've seen
you've seen the RV.
the RV. We haven't done an inside tour yet, and we'll probably do a video on
Soon,
what
yeah.
it looks like on the inside.
We've had a lot of people asking to
Yeah,
show it,
we
so
have.
we will. But this RV is a Knaus. Knaus. It's a German model. It's a 5.8, so just under 6 meters, diesel engine.
She gets really good mileage.
Great mileage.
We named her Minnie.
Yeah, because it's Knaus. So
Minnie Knaus.
And we're Minnie Knaus instead of Minnie Mouse. So we call her Minnie. And it's perfect for us. Just the right size. It's fully solar, fully off-grid ready. It's got an inverter, big solar panel. The fridge runs 3-way on battery, gas, and electric. Gas stove. Everything is set up for us for what we wanted.
In fact, right now we're sitting at a campground without electricity. We're paying $5 a day. If you see my eyes getting diverted above the camera line, it's because we're sitting and we can see the water from here and people walking by with their dogs and stuff on the boardwalk here, and it's actually really lovely. But yeah, $5 a day. We don't have electricity, but we don't need it because we can charge our phones and everything, and we have power from the solar. And
So our rule of thumb is we try to park in a campground with electricity once a week for a couple of days to recharge our solar generator and switch our refrigerator from gas to electric to save a little bit on gas and little things like that. But we take showers in our RV, full shower and bathroom. Like I said, we'll do a tour later. And we really don't need electricity. Once or twice a week we'll stop for a day or two and just kind of recharge everything. But our solar works great. But anyway, saw the RV. I did a little FaceTime tour with my wife. She was back home, and
I was home.
she was back home, and I was in Spain, and did a little tour, and said, "What do you think? I think it's kind of cute. I think it's the right size, and the price was in our budget." And she said, "Yeah, I like it." So on the spot, I bought it. I was able to purchase it. It's a little bit different. I was able to purchase it because I have my Spanish citizenship. So I have my national identity card, my DNI, along with my passport. I needed my DNI to register it, to get insurance and that kind of stuff. So we'll go into insurance and registering and stuff in another video. That's a kind of a long topic there as well.
I think we've watched some videos with people from the US that travel here, but I think they're either renting RVs or they're bringing. I watched one video where they brought their RV from the US over here.
And there's restrictions on that too, how long it can stay, and you have to register differently and things, but to actually own.
And I think to be able to own and drive around here.
And have it properly registered and inspected in insurance, and we can go over that in a separate video because that's a whole different topic. But that's how we bought our RV, and that was in March, like March 15th or something like that, because I got my full passport and DNI and stuff on the 13th, and a couple of days later bought the RV, and like 2 days later I flew home. So once I got home...
So once he bought the RV, I was at home and I was like, oh man, I got to start scrambling. And it was a matter of starting to pack things that we would need. And that was that's a whole nother video. But packing what you need for the RV, what you want to bring, what you don't want to bring, we had been to Europe plenty of times. So, and we've gone to stores. But it's different
when you come for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Or 10 days or 3 weeks, as opposed to saying, let's go indefinitely.
And let's go. You can get anything you need here, but there were certain things that I definitely wanted to bring from home. So it started the madness of packing, but not only that madness, but the madness of thinking about what we have to do to bring 5 dogs with us to Europe.
Yeah, which is a whole separate video again, but we'll go over just a tiny portion of it right now. You have to have their vet exams, their rabies have to be, and their vaccinations have to be up to date.
They have to have a rabies shot, and it has to be no newer than 21 days. So if your dogs are not current on their rabies shot, and you want to come here within 21 days, you're not going to be able to do it. They have to get their 1-year rabies shot, and I would recommend the 1 year. Because some countries in Europe don't accept a 3-year vaccination, right? Rabies vaccination.
Which means you would have to get them done again.
Then you have to, 10 days out before your flight, you have to go back to your vet to get a USDA, and you have to use a USDA certified veterinarian to do their health inspection and fill out the USDA forms to send it to the USDA to get that approved to get your paperwork back. So we had a bit of a scramble there. We thought we did our vet appointment on Monday.
That's a whole different video.
I'll say it really quick.
Yeah.
We did our vet appointment on Monday. The vet thought we would have the papers by Wednesday. We did not. By Friday, we still did not. We were flying out the following Monday, and we were in a panic because those USDA papers are not cheap, and
you can't fly without them.
You can't fly without them. So we were a little bit freaked out, but we did get them in time. We actually got them Monday before we were about to drive to the airport, which we were debating, do we drive to the airport, do we not drive to the airport, what are we going to do? So that was really super stressful, but we had
that's a whole different video. Let's cut that there because it's going to take, that's a whole different story.
We had 2 doggies in hold, and they went together, and we had 3 dogs on the flight with us. Jack's daughter came with us, so she held the 3rd dog in the carrier on the plane because each person had to have their own. But the dogs all did great. They didn't seem stressed out. They pretty much slept the whole way.
Oh, that was smooth. Once we got to the airport, was great.
Yeah.
We flew Iberia, and they were great as far as checking us in and getting the dogs situated and on the plane. And we'll go into that in a whole different video. We're not going to do too much because that'll take up a lot of time. But
that was probably one of the smoothest.
Iberia was very good.
Smoothest processes,
for
I
us.
think. Yeah.
Anyway, we flew in to Spain to our now new little home on wheels, our apartment on wheels. And we flew in to Sevilla.
Excuse me. Our old guy Bronco wants to come up and say hi to you guys.
So this is one of our little 5, our little 15-year-old Maltese. He's our oldest, and very spoiled. But anyway, so we flew into Spain, where we decided to start our journey. We had one of my cousins that lives in Spain before we flew in, had him take our our brand new RV to us, to a local campground, and check it in for us. We did the check-in online, paid for it and stuff. He drove it in, parked it, set it up for us. So when we got there, we had a place to stay, because it's very difficult to try to rent an apartment or an Airbnb or a hotel.
Yeah, that goes back to why we bought the RV in the
with
first
5
place.
dogs. That's very difficult. So we already had our own little apartment.
So we landed in Madrid. I had an eSIM on my phone that I couldn't get to work. So when we first landed and left the airport,
We rented a car from
rented a
Madrid
car.
and drove down to Seville.
and we had no
GPS.
for the longest time. We
So-
were driving blind. We were stopping and asking,
Getting out of Madrid, it was like
which way
old-
should we
old
go?
school.
Where's the sun?
yeah, which
What
direction
time
do
is
we
it?
head?
Where's the sun?
But,
So
but we
that was
made
a
it.
bit challenging.
But we made it. And we made it safely with our 5 doggies, rented a car, drove to Seville, and then we spent a week in Seville outfitting the RV for things that we needed to buy here.
Groceries, first thing.
Groceries,
Coffee pot.
a coffee pot, things like that we didn't bring with us,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, that we knew we could get here. We brought all the clothes that we would need, shoes and that kind of stuff. We brought dog food for the doggies, just enough to kind of transition them over
to
to a
transition
different
them
food,
over.
so their stomach wouldn't get too upset.
Their stomach still got upset, but
Yeah, but not as bad, I think. But yeah, so we stayed in Seville for a week at this campground. We'll put links to all of that kind of stuff in the description and let you guys know where we stayed and whether we recommend or not. And then from there, our travels started. My love, do you want to talk a little bit about our travels?
well, yeah, because we didn't have a whole lot of time before we left the U.S. I'm usually a pretty big planner and researcher, and I pretty much scope out everything where we go whenever we do travel. Well, I didn't have time to do that this time. So we decided that it started getting hot in Spain already in May, and I can't take the heat. And the doggies were getting hot. And RVs in Spain don't have,
Most
RVs, pretty much, I would say 95% of them don't have air conditioning, and ours does not. So we
it has air conditioning in the cab,
yeah, but not.
but not a central air conditioning unit like you would find in most RVs in the States.
So we decided the best for us would be to head to Portugal so that we could kind of ride along the coast and get some cooler breezes. But again, I had no time to plan beforehand. So we pretty much stop by stop. Like here, we're in a stop and we look ahead to where we might want to go and where we can find a decent park up. Here they're not really called campsites or campgrounds. They're called park ups or they're called airs. They do have some of them are called camping, caravan camping. But we sort of look ahead whenever we're in a town. Like now, we're here for a couple days.
So wait, let's go back a step. We decided we're going to do slow travel.
Oh well, yeah, there's that too.
And which is a huge part of it. We decided we're going to do slow travel, and we want to see the world. We want to see all of Europe. I have family, like I said
We're
earlier.
not on a time frame. We're not
No.
like when you go on vacation and you have 2 weeks to go somewhere. We don't have a time frame, so we can do what we want. We can go whatever town we want. We can change our complete route and go, you know what, let's go back the
which
other
we've
way.
done.
And we have done that.
So, like I said, I have family in Copenhagen, Denmark. My wife has family in Czech Republic. We have cousins and friends in France and in Italy. And so we decided, you know what? We want to see all of Europe and we want to experience it, not just spend a week on a vacation. So we decided, like my wife said, to kind of skedaddle out of southern Spain, where the temperature was starting to get really warm, which is beautiful for people who like really warm weather.
And have air conditioning.
And have air conditioning, my wife says. So we decided, well, let's go across into Portugal. We're already down in southern Spain, not that far from the Portuguese border. So we drove across the Algarve, and we're now skirting the coast, the Atlantic coast, up through Portugal. So as we're going up through Portugal, the weather has been consistently in the lower 70s,
Well,
upper 60s. But as heat waves come, we've been chasing the cooler weather.
We're north of Lisbon, and I did really want to see Lisbon, but unfortunately, as we're kind of researching towns of where to go next, where we want to go park up next or visit next, I also have to check the weather because we were going to go to Lisbon, and they were the weekend that we were going to go there. They were having a heat wave, and it was going to get up to like 90 degrees, and I just can't.
This is
do
all
that.
Fahrenheit that we're
Yes.
talking about because we're from the U.S., so we're not giving you Celsius.
So that's why we kind of passed. Someday we'll come back, I'm sure. Maybe
Oh, yeah.
even sometime this year, later this year or something.
Back
we'll
in the
come
fall or the winter when
Yeah,
the weather
and we'll see
cools
it. But
off.
yeah, as far as traveling and travel plans, we sort of have to do it kind of town by town. We may plan 2 or 3 stops ahead of where we are now.
And then we'll change. We'll decide, you
yeah.
know what? We really like this town. Let's stay another
Stay
couple of
extra
days. Or, this town doesn't do anything for us. We'll stay a day and then let's move on to the next town. But our whole objective is slow travel, immersion in the country. Get to know more about the country, the culture of that country, some of its customs, eat its food, drink its wine. We found this great little liqueur here in Portugal that we never knew about called ginja, which is a cherry liqueur. In fact, our next stop that we're going to is a little town where it originated, and you actually get to drink the ginger liqueur in little chocolate cups, and then you get to eat your cup afterwards. So we're looking forward to that.
We'll definitely film that.
We'll film that and let you guys know. But yeah, so that was kind of our journey from the U.S. to Europe into an RV, and then our travel plans, which we don't have any. We're traveling. We're going to see every country eventually. Every country. Right now we're in Portugal. We'll end up going into northern Spain and then maybe into France, and we might go up to Belgium and Holland and Germany and see the Christmas markets around that time. But we're not sure. We might change our
Yeah.
mind and do something else. But for that, you can follow us and subscribe and check out our
See
videos.
where we end up. Sorry, everybody. That was our little mini terrorist, the Wolfie, barking during the video. Say hi, Wolfie. He's a terrorist.
So let's talk a little bit about how we pick our spots, our cities, and how we get around. I'm the driver. I'm the chauffeur and the muscle guy. My wife's my wife's the brains. She's the one that kind of, like she said before, she likes to plan. She's the planner. So she's the one that kind of plans our route, where we're going. We sit down and talk about it, but she's the one that kind of says, let's go here first and then there second and third. And then she does the whole navigation thing.
Well, just like in the United States, there are a few. In the United States, there's like Harvest Host, and there's a few other kind of camping apps that you can use to find places. So we do it a couple of ways here. There's an app called Search for Sites, which has been really good. They'll give you parking places. They'll tell you places that you can park for the day or places you can actually even park for the night that are free or paid. Sometimes they'll give you air, sometimes they'll give you camping spots, and it shows up on a map. There's another one, Search for Sites, Park for Night. So we kind of use those. A lot of times we just Google search like where to park or where to camp up in whatever town, Lisbon or whatever. And I'll use Google Maps to look at the overhead satellite view of the place. And a lot of times too, they'll give you reviews. People leave reviews. For instance, the next town we were going to go to, there's no really close campground to get into town to see the sites. And we decided not to go there because it had a lot of bad reviews about people, their cars getting broken into and things like that. So we decided, we'll just skip that town and go on to another site.
Which is not very common though, the whole break-in thing. So when you do see that, you're kind of like, oh, then let's skip that. But so far we've been very safe and felt very safe everywhere we've parked.
So yeah, we've been using a lot of different things to try to find our next kind of camp up and where we want to go. So it's been pretty good. I hear in France they have like a Harvest Host type of app for wineries, and we'll look into that once we get there. And yeah, that's what we do. And then we kind of Google search what to see in each town. For instance, we passed a town coming here to this town, and we didn't notice it but there's a castle there, and that's where we're going to go drink the cherry liqueur with in the chocolate cup. So we're actually going to backtrack a little bit from this town, about 25 miles, about roughly back to go back to that town. And there's not a place to camp up because it's a little walled city, and we definitely do not want to go inside the city with the motorhome. But there's a big parking lot, safe place that we've watched, read reviews that it's safe to park there, and a lot of people go there. And in fact, I've read even today a few reviews that people spend the night in that parking lot. So we might do that, or we might even come back here for the night after we go see that city. One thing I will say about traveling in an RV, probably in the States and in Europe, but especially here because now we're doing it with 5 dogs, is a lot of times we can't see a lot of things because we either can't park close enough with the RV to go see things, and we've got the 5 dogs, so sometimes we can't. We have one video where we went to a fort, and if you again subscribe, you'll see that video, but we couldn't get in because we had the 5 dogs. And again, too, depending on the temperature outside, we can't leave them in the RV. And plus, my old guy barks like crazy whenever I leave him, so that's the barking issue.
Yeah, well, with the 5 dogs, we can't take mass transit, so we can't just up on a
Yeah.
bus or the subway and say, oh, well, we'll just park here and then take the subway in, because we have our 5 doggies. So, and they go everywhere with us. That's why we brought them from
Yeah,
the States
so they could
to
go
Europe, so
everywhere
they
with
could
us.
be with us, not locked up in an RV. So we
So-
take them with us everywhere.
Yeah,
So
and down the road we may figure out getting some. You see a lot of people, almost every RV here they have bikes, and people bike from a campground into town. So maybe down the road we'll figure out an option like that because we can get a little doggy trailer to attach the bike, and we'll do something like that. Maybe we'll see. We'll see what happens. Follow us and
well, wait.
you'll see.
Yeah, follow us and you will see. But talk a little bit about some of how you've decided on the navigation apps that we have.
Well, we got in trouble a few times with Google Maps, and I really love Google Maps, but there's no way to put dimensions in height. We're pretty high. This is considered kind of an A-class RV. It's not a camper van, and it's not a low-profile motorhome like that are very popular here in Europe. But unfortunately, in Google Maps, you can't do that, and we have run into a few problems. Again, if you subscribe, you'll see some of our issues some of the times. Actually, I don't think I've filmed some of those times because I was in the seat going ah. But we found an app that we're using, so we're kind of running 2 phones when we're traveling now. My driver and I'm the co-pilot, so I have 2 phones in my hand, one using Google Maps and one using this other app, which I can't think of the name of it right now, that we're experimenting with. So far, that app where I can put our length and our height, especially height, and dimensions in, so it won't take us down wrong ways or into a middle of a city or where we can't get out or we get stuck. We actually, one time, when I don't have that on camera either, we started to turn where Google Maps told us to turn, and there was a low bridge, and luckily he stopped right away.
It would have taken the top of our RV off.
Yeah, luckily he stopped right away, and we had to back to the roundabout to go back around to take a different route. So I'll put in the description the app that we're experimenting with right now, and
Well,
we'll see what happens from there.
and we're going to look back and see if we can find any of those videos. Like I said, most of the time while I was trying to drive, my wife was doing that and holding on, so she didn't film it. But there's been some hairpin turns and super steep downhills in small little cities where one side of the road is lined with motorcycles and the other one is lined with cars, and you only have that much room on each side
and
of
we
you
barely
to
squeezed through, and it was
so this new app that we're following, we'll put the name of it. In fact, we'll type the name of it as soon as we remember what the name is up here someplace. Has been much better so far.
Using the 2 has been better. Yeah, and I think that we were a little kind of, what's the right word? Maybe, even though we knew we had to be careful, we were sort of a little.
Well, we relied on our GPS and Google to tell us how to get there, and in the States we never had that problem. We weren't driving a big RV, we were driving our car, but if you put it in, it tells you go down to street A, turn left, go to the second stoplight, turn right, blah blah, and you never have an issue. Here it's like go down to street A and turn left, and when you turn left, all of a sudden
It's like this
it's
wide.
like this wide, or there's a low bridge, or it's a super winding road take you right through
Yeah.
the center of a town, because it's designed for cars and motorbikes and stuff, and not for RVs. And like my wife said, you can't put in the dimensions, so it doesn't know, and it's sending us on
Yeah.
the shortest route. But for us, it's a route that can get very scary very fast.
So if you travel Europe in an RV and you can let us know what you're using that works for you, you please put that in the comments below.
Yeah.
We could use some help right now.
Yeah, but we found an app that's helping out. It's been much better the last few trips that we've done from
Yeah, the
one city
last
to
two
another.
trips have been
And-
so much better.
And the way we kind of pick the cities, my love, we have like a final destination. Our final destination in Portugal is exiting Portugal, entering northern Spain on the Atlantic coast. That's our destination. We don't have a city or a timeline. So my wife and I would go on the map, mainly her. She goes on the map and she starts looking, okay, we're here. And then she checks the weather app and say, oh, if we
Too
go a
hot
little
there.
bit more left over here, the temperature is
Much
68
nicer.
degrees Fahrenheit for the weekend, or it's going to go up to 87, so we got to go this way and drive an extra 30 minutes, but then it becomes 70 degrees because you get the breeze off the Atlantic coast. So we kind of pick our places by the weather, where we're going to feel comfortable and not have to worry about having AC in our RV, more than the actual city. And then when we start getting there, we don't really even research the city. We get there and say,
We've started kind of doing that now
A
a little
little
bit ahead
bit.
of time to
What's
see.
there to see? And
Is
we
there
kind of-
anything to see here?
yeah, and then we kind of get there and we kind of explore it and see what there is to see. We've been pleasantly surprised a few times, and other times it's like, okay, it's just another city. But we've had some beautiful ocean views, dramatic cliffs, beautiful
Yes.
beaches, nice little city centers.
Some historical educations for us, and yeah, so do us a favor, hit that subscribe button, follow us, follow our journeys. We don't know where we're going next, but follow along. And
We don't know what we're doing. We don't know where we're going. We're kind of learning on the way. We're two Americans that are now in Europe, and the culture is different, and the way people interact is different, and the roads are different, and the campgrounds are different, and everything is different. So we're kind of learning on this journey. We're loving it, and we're embracing it. We're not saying anything that it's been amazing so far. But if you want to kind of learn with us, subscribe, push that little button, and follow us. Hopefully, we'll take you on some really cool adventures.
And again, thanks for watching.
Yeah,
Thanks for joining us in this video. And yeah, please subscribe.
please do.
We'll see you on the next one.
Bye, guys.